Today is Monday, May 5th, 2025. It's a little after the closing bell today, and I'm making this video. I took my account into 4 trades today. I only ended up making 2 trades. My first trade was actually pre-market, and I got in and sold at the same exact price. So it was a completely break-even trade. My second trade was it was shortly after the opening bell. I think it was around 10 a.m. I ended up losing about 20 cents a share. They're both on the same ticker, GPUS, which was a stock that ended up squeezing about 500% today. I watched this stock most of the day. I sat around and watched all kinds of moves, probably over a dozen good moves that I kind of saw happening and predicting and going the way that I thought they were going to go based on the way the chart was reading in the level 2, and I didn't commit to any of those good moves. I'm having issues committing to moves. It's something that I've dealt with since I've started trading. I'm just afraid to be wrong and it go south on me. But so often I watch a move, I see it forming, I see what I think is going to happen, and then I watch it happen that way. And instead of being in on it and going green, I just watch it. I need to get a little better about committing to these moves. There was another ticker I was watching throughout the day, IVF. It was more in the $1 range. I didn't get in on any trades with it, but there was 2 or 3 different times where I was watching it and kind of pattern out the way that I thought a trade would go and watched it happen again without me being a part of it. I really want to get better at this committing thing and trusting myself. I know for right now, my fear is committing to the trade, and then once I get in a trade, if it goes one way or the other, I get out of it very quickly instead of letting the trade fully form and giving it some time to breathe. For that reason, I do have my goals for this account set so small that if I'm able to get green on a trade, I can snipe it for a few cents, maybe on the more expensive stocks. Once you start getting above $2 or $3, if I hit 5 cents or a dime, that's really a great move. On the cheaper stocks, even 2 or 3 cents in a move is really a great move for the way that I'm trying to trade this account. So it doesn't take much. I just need to commit and trust myself and get green and get out. But I have also got to allow these trades to breathe and really work the way that I see them working. All right, I'm going to start with the trade that I missed out on pre-market because I didn't commit to it. I have been watching this ticker since it flushed down to the $2.75-ish mark. It slowly kind of climbed back up. The MACD stayed wide open for this little move here, but I didn't commit to it after this big red candle. Now, if we look here, it kind of consolidates, starts going flat for a little while. And I was watching the MACD, it was getting really close to crossing over here, and I knew something good was going to happen. I saw this green candle get break the 9 EMA really evenly, and then boom, here we go. A huge green candle, small, I wouldn't even call it a pullback, but a small consolidation, and then it rips up again. This is going from 360 all the way back up to 460. There was all kinds of room to make moves here. I didn't commit to anything, and I missed out on one of the cleanest moves of this trade, especially in the pre-market session since I had been watching it. This was my first active trade of the morning. You can tell right here, we're looking at about 8:38 in the morning, just shortly after the opening bell. MACD's nice and open. And we've got a couple green candles to get us kind of moving in the right way. Goes flat for a little while. And then we had a good green candle to bring us to what we'd call a little bit of a starting of a new high here. I got in on this candle and I got out on this candle. And looking at this, I clearly should have let this breathe a little. I got in at 373 and I got out at 373. This candle started at 337 and it got the high point of 75. I got in on the top of this candle It bounced around for a little while. I was afraid it was going to start flushing on me, so I got out. But instead, it climbs all the way up. These candles are hitting the 390s mark. So I could have waited for these candles to kind of prove me wrong or right, and I could have made about 25 cents a share. Instead, I got in and I got out within a few seconds. Just the way the candle was moving, the volume had increased slightly, and man, this thing was kind of jumping around on me. It made me nervous, but I knew we were going in the right way. I need to just trust myself and make these. This was a from 330 all the way to 390, 60-cent swing here, and if you count 2-3 candles, maybe 4 candles, I could have sniped just a better part of that, even half of that 60 cents. 30 cents is a huge swing for me, but instead I got in and got out within a few seconds just out of fear. This is my second trade of the day, and a trade that went red for me. The candle I got in on was this topping tail green candle here. I got out the next candle. The MACD was starting to close. I thought we were going to gain a little bit momentum and catch a nice upward swing here, which we did, just not in this particular set of candles. It took about another 5 minutes to get that swing going. I got in 665 on this candle, which is basically the topping tail of this candle, of course. Next candle started going red. It actually dropped down to around 630, 628 maybe, which kind of got me scared because that's a pretty big loser for me. But it ended up kind of consolidating into the 640s. I got out with a 20-cent loss here. This was the type of move I wanted to see. I got in too early. It wasn't quite ready for that move. But just a few candles later, I could have recommitted. MACD started to open up, and it went from 630 all the way up to 778. So that was a $1.50 swing in this one particular move here, with the MACD being wide open. I could have got in on several of these candles and made all kinds of money, but instead I committed at the wrong time, took a small loss, and then I kind of feared myself out of trading this for most of the, well, I didn't take another trade on this chart the rest of the day. This was really high volume, and the swings on these candles were, it was a pretty wide range, so I was not quite comfortable with that. But knowing this pattern, even these ranges on this candle, if I were to get in on one, I know that this pattern's evolving. By the time it climbs several candles, there's almost a certainty that I could have made money. The MACD went the right way. It opened up real nice, and I could have committed and made more money there.